Hey, what's going on, League of Heroes members? Hey man, I just want to give a quick shout out to my CFO Cross. We, it went so well, and I just couldn't have done it without you, man. Thanks for all your help, all the hard work, computer setting everything up, man. It just went super well, and all you League of Hero members, man, you guys made this draft super fun, and I am so excited to see this season play out. And we got some new faces, old faces back, man. It's super awesome. And I know everyone's gunning for Matt, trying to prevent him from winning his 4th title. And he's trying to go for League of Heroes greatness, man, and insert himself in the Hall of Fame that doesn't even exist yet. But here we go, man. I'm just going to break it down in order of ranking. So 1 through 10, starting with Matt and ending with Dunbar, all the way down. And just kind of go through the draft recap and send it out. Hope you guys like this video, man. So starting with Hartman first. First of all, I love your team name, man. We can go back to David and Joe Koo. I love that name, man. I love your team name. I love Bell. I do like Crabtree, man, but the first time I've ever seen you have no real wide receiver in the top 8. You got some guys that are very consistent, but I don't see a stud there that screams out at me. And Lamar Miller, just question marks there with your running back too. But you know what, man? I've got you going back to the playoffs. But I just don't think you get it done this year. But again, prove me wrong, man. You are the man who always figures out a way to do a trade or work the ways. Awesome to have you back, man. Glad to have you back. Thanks for Life Point hosting the venue for us. It was incredible. So definitely all of us, thank you for getting that set up and everything. Your draft, Odell and Alshon Jeffrey. I love those 2 receivers, man. I think you bought low on Alshon Jeffrey. Running back, here's my big question mark for your team is Leonard Fournette. Does Leonard Fournette become the guy you drafted him for, or did you buy super high on him, and does it take him a little bit since he's in the Jaguars offense? I do not have you making the playoffs this year. Awesome, man. Your 2nd year in the league, you were very, very scared the first night you drafted, man, and I don't think you knew what you're getting yourself into, but dude, you came prepared this year. I love your team name. I love that you got Mike Evans. The downside is he's out week 1 due to the hurricane. It sucks, man. Cooper and Ajayi. I love this. You have an incredible big 3. I don't like Rivers, and I don't like the fact that you don't really have a running back too. That's a little scary. I think you're going to need to find a 2nd running back. I do not have you making the playoffs this year. My boy. First of all, thanks for interrupting my video that I spent so much time on, man. Talking the whole time. No, I'm just kidding, man. I was playing with you. David Johnson, but by far money. I mean, you got him. You're already probably in playoff contention with David Johnson, keeping him. And Des Bryant. Sorry, Jai. You have a Jai, not Ryan. And the only question mark for you that I have is Russell Wilson. Man, if Russell Wilson can be consistent the entire year, I think you're good. So, you know what, man? I actually have you in the playoffs. Brandon Cross, my CFO, partner in crime. You got Antonio Brown and DeMarco Murray. I love that. I think you got 2 solid guys there. Just benching Rodgers the first week, so I don't think this really has anything to do with the draft, but, man, you have a quarterback nightmare on your hands with Roethlisberger and Rodgers. And, I think you got to go Rodgers every week, but again, I think you could play this out right, and then I don't think you have any flex depth, so I don't have you in the playoffs. Daniel, first year in the league, man, welcome. Usually, this league is not kind to first-year members, but you have Doug Baldwin, Jordy Nelson, and Kelvin Benjamin as your receivers. I love all 3 of those guys. I think all 3 of those guys could finish in the top 12 in fantasy this year. I've got you in the playoffs, man. I think you had a great draft. And I love your team name, man. The Turn Your Head in Coughlin, that is a classic. So awesome, man. Congrats on your first draft, and hope you stick this thing out. Travis L. Your running backs are good, man. You got Gurley, Kareem Hunt, and Melvin Gordon. I mean, I think you have 3 running backs that could easily finish in the top 10, top 12. Your wide receiver too, and your flex spot's a little, I think you're gonna have to figure that out there. But I think your running backs. Obviously, if you have those 2 running backs, you're not going to need a flex. So I think you're just going to have to figure out wide receiver 2 there. And but I do, man. I've got you making the playoffs and getting that monkey off your back and finally making the playoffs in your 6th season. You get it done this year and you make the playoffs. Brandon Collins, you're all the way out in Arizona, man, but you're still Skype in every year, compete. I love it, man. You're 2,000 plus miles away, but man, it feels like you're always real close, especially when it's fantasy season. So I loved Julio. I loved Dalvin Cook, my boy. I'm all in on Dalvin Cook with the Vikings this year. Eddie Lacy, question marks. I have no idea what Eddie Lacy's going to show up. He has not been good the last couple of years, and I don't know if a change of scenery helps. And Dak Prescott, without Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know how that does affect Dak Prescott's value. So I don't have you making the playoffs this year, man. But again, anything can happen. Go after it. Robbie Johnson. First of all, I love LaShawn McCoy. I love Drew Brees. What a value pick. I think that was one of the best pickups in the entire draft. I think was the value of getting Drew Brees as late as you did. Man, but keeping Ezekiel Elliott and then that 6-game suspension. So you're looking at probably week 8 by the time that the suspension's up, and the bye week for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I know that you got Darren McFadden, but Darren McFadden is not Ezekiel Elliott. It's not the same person. And then Terrell Pryor, I think you got to hope for the high ceiling with Terrell Pryor in order to have a successful year. I don't have him making the playoffs. Jason Dunbar, you always keep Tom Brady. You stick with your boy through and through. I love it. I love your loyalty. AJ Green, I love it. I love Martavis Bryant. That's one of my guys that I think that gets that's drafted outside of the top 20 that ends up in the top 10 for a wide receiver this year because of his big playability. Man, but no running backs. I think you're going to have to make a trade for one. You've got Derek Carr. I think that's the big key for you is you have Derek Carr on your team. Maybe you move him and you try to piece together something to get a solid running back. So, yeah, man. But yeah, guys, everyone, I know it's going to be another competitive year. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to doing these every week. And you know what? Your boy out.